Hey there, everyone! Welcome back to the channel. I'm John, and today we're talking about confidence, how to speak English confidently, even if you feel a little apprehensive at times. Don't worry, we'll break it all down together. And hey, if you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss any of our English tips. Let's get right into it. Tip number 1, start with small conversations. Begin with simple chats that help you feel comfortable when you're in situations where you feel relaxed and at ease. These don't have to be complex. Start with something familiar, something you already know and are accustomed to. This way, you won't feel overwhelmed or intimidated by the idea of speaking English. Practical example. Next time you're at a cafe, instead of worrying about long, complicated sentences, just say, "Can I get a coffee?" It's a familiar situation, so you won't feel anxious or stressed. And don't forget, being able to order coffee in English might seem small, but it's an important step in feeling more confident. Additional tip. As you build your comfort with short conversations, gradually increase the complexity. Start with simple questions like, "How are you today?" Or, "What time is it?" Once you get the hang of these, try asking for something more specific, like directions or recommendations. Over time, these small steps will help you feel more proficient, or skilled, at speaking English. Tip number 2 is to embrace your mistakes. Yes, embracing means to accept mistakes and learn from them. Don't let errors discourage you, they're part of the process and can help you improve. Remember, if you're not making mistakes, it probably means you're not pushing yourself enough. Practical example. Making a mistake doesn't mean you failed. For example, if you say "I am go to the store" instead of "I am going to the store," don't feel defeated, as if you've lost or failed. Just correct yourself and keep going. Defeat can often make you feel less motivated, but remember, each mistake is an opportunity for improvement. Tip. Every time you make a mistake, remind yourself, "It's okay. I'm learning." This will help you feel more enthusiastic or excited about practicing and improving. The more you persist, or keep going despite challenges, the faster you'll improve. Additional tip. Instead of focusing on the negative aspects of making mistakes, try to see them as stepping stones to success. Every time you mess up, you're learning how to do it better next time. The key is to stay resilient, or strong in the face of difficulties, and never give up. Tip number 3, learn phrases, not just individual words. A lot of learners focus on memorizing single words, but that's not the best way to sound natural when speaking. It's important to focus on expressions, which are groups of words that commonly appear together. These expressions make your speech sound more cohesive, meaning that everything fits together in a smooth and logical way. Practical example. Instead of just memorizing the word delicious, learn the whole expression "This tastes amazing." Or, "This is absolutely fantastic." This helps you sound more genuine, meaning sincere and real, rather than like someone who is just reciting memorized words. Additional tip. As you build your vocabulary, also focus on common phrases that you can use in a variety of settings. These versatile phrases, like "I'll take that," or "What do you recommend?" can be used in different situations. Over time, these expressions will feel more automatic, meaning you can say them without thinking too much. Why it works? By learning phrases instead of just individual words, you'll sound more fluent and articulate, meaning clear and well-spoken. Phrases make speaking easier because you're not searching for words in the middle of a conversation. They just come out naturally, making you sound more confident and capable. Tip number 4, practice with native speakers. This is one of the most effective ways to gain confidence in speaking. Native speakers can expose you to the true intonation of English, which refers to the rise and fall in pitch when speaking. They can also teach you nuances, subtle differences in how words or phrases are used in specific situations. Practical example. Think about how a native speaker might respond to a simple question. They might say, "Sure, no problem." But they might say it in a relaxed way, or they might add a bit of emphasis on "no problem" for extra reassurance. Learning these nuances helps you sound more natural and less like you're just reading from a textbook. Tip. Practice with someone who speaks English fluently, whether it's a friend or an online language partner. This helps you become more comfortable with the casual style of speaking that native speakers use, which can be very different from formal, textbook English. Why it works? Native speakers will also expose you to slang, colloquialisms, and expressions you won't find in formal lessons. These words and phrases are commonly used in everyday life but might be unfamiliar to non-native speakers. Getting used to them makes you sound more natural, and it builds your confidence because you'll be able to understand and use them correctly. Additional tip: don't worry about making mistakes when practicing with native speakers. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every time you speak, you'll notice areas where you can improve, and this will motivate you to keep practicing. Over time, you'll notice your speech becoming more fluid, meaning it flows easily, without hesitation. Tip number 5: think in English. This might seem difficult at first, but it's one of the most effective techniques to improve your fluency. Instead of translating from your native language to English in your head, try to immerse yourself in the language. Immersion means surrounding yourself with English in such a way that you start thinking in it naturally. Practical example: when you're walking down the street, think to yourself, "I'm going to the store," instead of translating it from your native language. The more you do this, the more automatic it becomes. Automatic means something that happens without needing much effort or thought. Tip: start by thinking in English for small things: what you need to buy, what you're doing today, or even what you're feeling. The more you do this, the more fluid your speech will become, meaning it will flow smoothly and effortlessly. Why it works? Thinking in English allows you to stop translating every single word. Instead, you will be able to speak more naturally, just as you would in your native language. This helps you become more confident, as you won't need to pause or search for the right words. Tip number 6: use body language. Your nonverbal communication, or body language, plays a huge role in how confident you appear when speaking English. In fact, the way you present yourself physically can even make you feel more confident. Presentation refers to the way you carry yourself when speaking. Practical example: next time you're speaking in English, try standing tall, making eye contact, and using your hands to emphasize key points. These gestures can help you feel more assertive, meaning confident in expressing yourself, and they can make your listener more engaged with what you're saying. Tip: don't just focus on the words. Pay attention to your posture and facial expressions as well. A friendly smile, a steady voice, and positive body language, meaning welcoming and open, will make you seem more confident and approachable. Why it works? Body language is often just as important as the words you say. Studies show that when you use positive body language, you appear more charismatic, meaning charming and able to influence people, which makes others more likely to listen to you. So, don't be afraid to let your body speak as well. Additional tip: try practicing in front of a mirror. This helps you become more aware of your body language, and the more you practice, the more comfortable you will feel. Over time, it will feel natural, meaning it won't require much effort to stand tall and speak confidently. Tip number 7: expand your vocabulary. The more words you know, the more easily you can express yourself. Having a wide range of vocabulary helps you sound more articulate, which means able to express your thoughts clearly and effectively. Practical example: instead of always using words like good or nice, try using alternatives like exceptional, remarkable, or impressive. These words add more detail and depth to your speech, making you sound more dynamic and interesting. Tip: try to learn new words every day. Focus on words that you can use immediately in your conversations. This will make your vocabulary feel more relevant, meaning it applies directly to what you're trying to say in real-life situations. Why it works? Expanding your vocabulary allows you to speak with precision, meaning your words will perfectly capture what you're trying to express. This makes you sound more confident because you'll be able to find the exact word for each situation. Additional tip: use a thesaurus to find synonyms for words you use often. This will help you vary your language and avoid repetition. And don't forget to practice using these new words, this will make them feel more natural. Tip number 8: practice in front of the mirror. This might feel a little awkward at first, but it's one of the most powerful tools to boost your confidence when speaking English. When you practice in front of a mirror, you get to see your facial expressions and your body language, which are key parts of communication. Practical example. Imagine you're preparing for a presentation or an interview in English. Standing in front of a mirror, you can observe how you move your hands or whether you're making eye contact. You'll notice if you're looking tense, and this helps you adjust your posture or facial expressions. Tip: try speaking about your day, explaining a process, or describing something you enjoy. As you do this, focus on your tone and the way you express yourself. It helps you become more aware of how you sound, which boosts your self-assurance. Why it works. Seeing yourself speak in the mirror helps you become more self-aware, meaning you're more mindful of how you communicate, both with your words and your body. Over time, you'll notice that you feel more comfortable speaking in real situations, too. Additional tip: make this a daily habit. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, practicing in front of a mirror will reinforce your confidence, making you feel more prepared when it's time to speak with others. Tip number 9, listen actively. This is a key skill that can greatly improve your confidence when speaking English. Active listening means fully focusing on the speaker, not just hearing their words but also understanding the context, the situation or background in which something is said. Practical example. Imagine you're listening to a friend tell a story. Instead of just waiting for your turn to speak, pay attention to their tone and body language. By listening actively, you'll be able to respond more relevant, or directly related, to what they are saying. Tip: active listening allows you to absorb language in a more organic way, meaning naturally or without effort. It helps you catch phrases, slang, and expressions that you can use in your own conversations, making you sound more authentic. Why it works. When you listen actively, you not only learn new words and phrases, but you also improve your pronunciation and fluency by hearing how native speakers use them. This is a vital skill for anyone looking to speak with confidence because it helps you keep the conversation flowing. Additional tip: practice active listening when watching English movies or listening to podcasts. Try to understand the speaker's intonation, the rise and fall of their voice, and mimic it when you speak. Tip number 10, stay positive and patient. Confidence in English doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, practice, and a positive attitude. Patience is essential, meaning you need to be willing to wait for progress without getting frustrated. Practical example. When you make mistakes, don't let them discourage you. Stay optimistic, having a hopeful outlook about your improvement, and keep pushing forward. For example, if you struggle with pronunciation, don't give up. Every day, practice a little more, and you'll notice improvements. Tip: having a positive mindset helps you persevere, meaning continue despite challenges. Even when things feel difficult, remind yourself that learning English is a journey, and the more you practice, the more confident you'll become. Why it works. Maintaining a constructive attitude towards your learning process helps you bounce back from setbacks. It makes the journey feel more enjoyable, as you focus on your progress rather than your mistakes. Additional tip: set small, achievable goals for yourself. When you reach them, take a moment to celebrate. This will boost your motivation, making the process feel rewarding and keeping you energized to keep improving. Tip number 11, record yourself speaking. This might feel uncomfortable at first, but research has shown that self-assessment, which means evaluating your own performance, can significantly improve your speaking skills. By recording yourself, you can hear your pronunciation, intonation, and identify areas that need improvement. Practical example. Try recording yourself reading a passage in English or speaking about your day. Afterward, listen to the recording and pay attention to how you sound. Do you speak clearly? Is your tone too fast or too slow? Are there any words that you're mispronouncing? Tip: listening to your own recordings helps you become more self-aware, meaning you'll better understand your strengths and weaknesses in language learning. You'll be able to track your progress and correct mistakes more effectively. Why it works. Research suggests that self-monitoring is one of the most powerful tools for improving your language skills. By actively listening to yourself, you not only become more conscious of your speaking habits, but you also start to notice patterns, which helps in making long-term improvements. Additional tip: use apps or recording devices to help you assess your speech. You can even compare recordings over time to track your improvement and feel more confident as you hear yourself get better. Tip number 12, Use spaced repetition for vocabulary. This learning technique is based on cognitive science and involves reviewing words at increasing intervals over time. Spaced repetition helps you move new vocabulary from your short-term memory to your long-term memory, making it easier to recall words when you need them. What it looks like. Let's say you learn a new word today. Using spaced repetition, you'd review that word the next day, then after a few days, then a week later, and so on. This method helps reinforce your learning and ensures you don't forget words quickly. Practical example. Apps like Anki or Quizlet use spaced repetition algorithms to help you review vocabulary at the optimal times. When you consistently review your words, you strengthen your memory and your ability to use them in conversation. Tip. Spaced repetition is proven to be more efficient than traditional rote memorization because it takes advantage of, the brain's natural ability to remember things over time. It ensures that you retain new vocabulary for the long haul and use it effectively in real conversations. Why it works. Research has shown that using spaced repetition boosts retention rates by up to 50% compared to traditional study methods. It helps you avoid the forgetting curve, which is when we forget newly learned information shortly after studying it. By reinforcing words regularly, you keep your vocabulary fresh and accessible. Additional tip. Set aside a few minutes every day for spaced repetition practice. Even just 10 minutes can have a big impact on your ability to recall vocabulary when you need it most. Tip number 13, mimic native speakers. This technique involves closely imitating the speech patterns, pronunciation, and rhythm of native speakers. Research in language acquisition shows that imitation is a highly effective way to improve pronunciation and fluency. When you mimic someone, you're not just learning words, you're learning how to speak with the same intonation, rise and fall of voice, and cadence, rhythm of speech. Practical example. Choose a short clip from a TV show, movie, or podcast where a native speaker is talking. Pause the video, and repeat the exact words they said, trying to match their speed, tone, and expression. This helps you sound more natural and develop a native-like accent. Tip. Start with simple sentences and work your way up to more complex dialogues. The more you mimic, the more instinctive your speaking will become, and the less you'll need to consciously think about how to pronounce words. Why it works. Research has found that mimicking helps reinforce your speaking habits and improves your ability to use the language naturally in real situations. It's one of the fastest ways to become more confident in your pronunciation and fluency. Additional tip. Record yourself mimicking the speaker and compare it to the original. This will help you identify areas where you can improve your intonation and pronunciation, leading to more effective learning. Tip number 14, surround yourself with English. Immersing yourself in the language every day is one of the most efficient ways to boost your confidence. Research shows that language immersion, or surrounding yourself with a language in everyday life, accelerates learning and improves fluency by reinforcing vocabulary and grammar in context. Practical example. Change your phone's language settings to English, watch your favorite shows with English subtitles, or listen to podcasts while commuting. This way, you're constantly exposed to English, even when you're not actively studying. The more you're around the language, the more intuitive it becomes. Tip. Try to incorporate English into your day-to-day activities. Whether it's listening to music, reading the news, or chatting with a friend in English, every moment of exposure counts. It helps you retain what you've learned and makes speaking more effortless. Why it works. Research has shown that the more you immerse yourself in English, the more automatic it becomes to think, speak, and understand the language. This kind of continuous exposure makes the language feel natural and part of your everyday life. Additional tip. Even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, you can create your own immersion environment. The more you surround yourself with English, the quicker you'll build your confidence in using it. Alright, those were the next 2 tips to help you speak English with confidence, backed by research and proven techniques. Remember, learning a language is a journey. Stay consistent, stay positive, and embrace every step of the process. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become, and soon, you'll be speaking English like a pro. If you found these tips helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Keep pushing yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and keep practicing.